Menopause is a workplace issue and a well-being issue, and latest research by Standard Chartered Bank shows it's having an impact on female inclusion, progression and skills retention. There's an information gap around menopause that organisations can help to bridge to ultimately create more inclusive and supportive workplaces for everyone. I'm joined by Standard Chartered's Group Head of HR, Tanuj Kapilashrami. So menopause is not widely talked about in the workplace. It's considered still a bit of a taboo. Why should we be talking about it, particularly in financial services?
There is a gender imbalance in financial services, especially in more senior roles. And to address that, we need to look not just at the talent pipeline, but some of the barriers that are coming in the way of women progressing across that talent pipeline. Our strong point of view is, if we don't normalize some of these conversations around menopause, we are really going to struggle to create environments, workplace environments that are truly inclusive, that support the progression of women, and ultimately have a positive impact on the bottom line of companies.
I know you've recently done research in the effects of menopause on financial services. What have you found?
We did a research focused on impact of menopause transition along with Financial Services Skills Commission. Really good participation. We had 2,500 respondents, both men and women. Very consistent feedback. Almost half of the respondents said that menopause transition impacted their ability or to take on additional responsibilities at work, with many of them saying that they gave up promotion opportunities. The second trend, which was very worrying, was almost a quarter of the respondents spoke about leaving their jobs completely. So taking a decision to retire early or moving out of FS completely as a result of their experience with the menopause. And the third theme that came out very strongly was the lack of conversation awareness on the topic of menopause in workplaces. The fact that that topic was still a taboo, and how normalizing some of those conversations would have a disproportionate positive impact on women who are going through menopause transition.
So what can organisations do to make a difference and support their employees?
The recommendations are broadly in two areas. So the workplace adjustments that need to be made to support women, access to infrastructure, providing them flexibility, etc. And the second range of recommendations is much more in the cultural domain. So, how do we focus on education, awareness of people leaders? How do we create a culture of inclusion where some of these conversations can be normalized?
In a practical sense, how will Standard Chartered support employees?
Providing flexible working to our colleagues, providing workplace adjustments to women who are suffering from the menopause, infrastructural support, so things like sanitary products, spare uniforms for the front line, etc. So those are what I call inclusive policies that we have to support our colleagues. The second category is much more around education and awareness. So we have developed detailed guidance for our people leaders on how can they support their teams. We have got our employee assistance program specifically focused on menopause and to provide support to women who are going through the menopause. We are also looking for additional training on the topic through our online learning channel. We call it Discover. So those are the two sort of broad buckets and a series of interventions across both of them to support our colleagues.
And do you think that will stop some people thinking that they have to leave their job because of what they've been going through?
I very strongly believe that the more we are able to normalize some of these conversations inside the organization and create a culture that's focused on inclusion. Menopause for us is part of an overall well-being issue, but it's also an overall inclusion issue. And I fundamentally believe that the more we are able to do that, we can build an environment which is far more inclusive, which makes us more attractive, not just to attract, but retain diverse talent. And so I firmly believe that it will have a positive impact on workforce demographics and overall culture of inclusion.
Tanuj, thank you very much indeed for your time.